Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. I think we're going to start today with the video welcome address from the ESA DG, Joseph Aschbacher.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, my name is Joseph Aschbacher and I'm the Director General of the European Space Agency. It gives me great pleasure to open the International Workshop on Advances in the Science and Applications of SAR, Interferometry and Sentinel-1 in SAR, the FRINGE 2023, and I'm very pleased to welcome you all. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you today in person in the UK, but I do recognize that it is a high time that such an event takes place to highlight the remarkable contribution of SAR missions. Many scientists and other stakeholders like to say that we have entered the golden age of SAR, and looking at the large number of participants, around 400, from about 40 countries, FRINGE being organized for the 12th time, I can only agree. Since 2014, the number of flying SAR missions has multiplied and includes institutional space agencies, commercial, and lately new space constellations of small SAR satellites. SAR interferometry, the topic of this workshop, is of great importance as interferometry is needed to fully benefit from the SAR instrument capabilities for numerous applications. ESA's involvement in current and planned SAR missions is manifold. Several satellite missions have become operational and have provided continuous measurements. Moreover, many new missions with new capabilities and radar wavelengths are in the planning or in the development stage. I'm referring here to Copernicus Sentinel-1 C-band, which was launched in 2014 for the very first time with Sentinel-1A and in 2016 for Sentinel-1B, ESA's Earth Explorer biomass P-band SAR with a totally new wavelength in space and launch date in 2025, or the upcoming Copernicus expansion missions Roselle in L-band and again Sentinel-1 next generation in C-band, which are being developed and pushed correctly the state of the art in this domain. While the conference focuses on the latest scientific results in the field of INSAR, it is also a celebration of the remarkable long-term contribution Sentinel-1 has made to our understanding of the Earth system, the climate, and, in turn, impacts on society. In addition to the advances thanks to Sentinel-1, we should also not forget the pioneering role of ESA in the early days of INSAR, and I know that some of the participants of this conference here were directly involved in the success of INSARs. This includes ESA's pioneering efforts in the C-band SAR mission, ERS-1, which was launched in 1991, which I remember very well personally, then ERS-2 in 1995, then dedicated INSAR experiments and expert meetings and reports. The first FRINGE workshop, which was organized in 1996 in Zurich, leading all the way to this FRINGE conference today at the University of Leeds, which is also the largest and longest running INSAR workshop in the world. And the INSAR R&D continued with Envisat C-band ASAR data, which, as you know, was launched in 2002 and operated until 2012. Since FRINGE 2023 is hosted in the UK, I would like to emphasize the importance of UK contributions in SAR research and industrial development. The UK was at the center stage of SAR development in Europe at the times of ERS and Envisat. Marconi, the UK Portsmouth facility, was the prime contractor for the ERS main instrument AMI, for the SAR and the scattorometer, and the main R&D on Calval was performed at the Marconi Research Centre. Matra Marconi Space UK was the prime contractor for the Envisat ASAR. And Novasar is an S-band SAR mission by Surrey Satellite Technologies in the UK and EADS Astrim UK, launched in 2018. And there are many other UK companies and institutions involved in the field from upstream to downstream. So my sincere thanks goes to all of you who generously helped us make the event come together and become a success. Contributions from the UK Space Agency, SatSense, Centre for Earth Observation Instrumentation, CEOI, and Space Hub Yorkshire are much appreciated, and we thank you for this. Last but not least, I especially thank the University of Leeds, the local organizing committee, the scientific committee, the representatives from national and international organizations, representatives from governments and scientific institutions who have joined us. I'm grateful to the many experts, scientists and engineers who have come to share their knowledge this week. I'm sure you will have fruitful and rewarding exchanges in the coming days, and I wish you every success with this important conference, and I look forward to learning about the results. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And next we welcome a video from Viscount Camrose, who's representing the UK government through his role in the DSIT department.
Good morning and welcome to the ESA. Good morning and welcome to the ESA Fringe. I'm delighted that the UK is hosting this event, bringing together a wealth of experts in the scientific community and showcasing the UK's leading technical capability in Earth observation. The UK is a key supporter of the European Space Agency. We committed to significant investment at the 2022 ESA Council of Ministers, £1.84 billion over the next 5 years, including over 300 million on Earth observation programmes to support the growth of the UK sector and deliver the National Space Strategy. We will participate in the Copernicus programme, a state-of-the-art capacity to monitor the Earth. The UK's association to Copernicus comes at a crucial moment, where the Copernicus space infrastructure and its information services will evolve further, and our contribution to understanding and acting on environmental and climate change-related challenges is more important than ever. Access to this unique Earth observation data will provide early warning of floods, fires, and allow the UK's world-leading sector to bid for contracts worth over hundreds of millions. We will work with ESA over the coming weeks and months to support our world-leading sector, to reintegrate the programme and make the most of these fantastic opportunities for our sector. Earth observation is a vital science and continues to be a growing industry. It supports the UK in our ambition to become a science superpower and prioritises our net zero ambitions. In the National Space Strategy, the UK government committed to remain at the forefront of Earth observation technology and know-how, and we have now published our national priorities for civil Earth observation, which will shape our plans in the UK over the coming decades to deliver on this ambition. These priorities build on the strengths of our world-leading Earth observation sector and set up the ambitious sector-specific outcomes that will deliver long-term sustainable growth and support innovative use of Earth observation for commercial and public services. The UK is proud to be a founding member of ESA, and Earth observation is a key part of what we do with them, providing benefits around the globe. And a great example of this is the UK's current leadership of the International Disaster Charter, providing data from satellites to aid disaster response all around the world. As I'm sure many of you will be aware, this also includes data from Sentinel-1, demonstrating the importance of SAR. Beyond this, our researchers and companies benefit from access to technical and scientific expertise, delivery support, and international collaboration that ESA membership provides. Nowhere is this better exemplified than in the ongoing development of the Copernicus Sentinel missions, where the UK's EO sector is heavily involved in development of sensors and platform equipment, mission leadership, and scientific research. I hope you have an excellent day celebrating ESA and the really exciting potential of what Earth observation data and technology can do.
And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Beth Greenaway, who's head of the Earth Observation Department and Climate Group at the UK Space Agency, to the stage. So Beth, thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you. Which one do I use here? Yeah, it's quite hard to follow Joseph and our Viscount, isn't it? So I'm just going to put a little bit of colour and flavour onto what they've been talking about. I think just a little bit of a perspective from where the Space Agency sits in the world of space in the UK and what some of the priorities are going forward. You had a little bit of the history from Joseph there. I think I can't not start with the fantastic news from last week on Thursday with the joint statement from the UK Prime Minister and the EU. Hopefully nobody in the room has missed it, but if it works, yeah, we will participate in the Copernicus component of the EU from the 1st of January. So that is absolutely massive news from our point of view. We've been with the likes of lots of people in this room trying to get back in ever since 2017. So since your last conference, in fact, I think. So we're really delighted for that news. I think, hang on, is it got stuck? There we go. So I guess I'd also talk a little bit about UK and ESA. ESA is vitally important to the UK, and you heard about all those things that the UK does, but a vast majority of the monies that the UK government spend on Earth observation in the UK is through ESA. And so we're delighted that ESA's conference is here. We commit to ESA in rounds of every 3 years, a CMIN, a Council of Ministers. The last one was in November 22, where we are the 4th largest contributor behind Germany, Spain and Italy. We always used to be 3rd, actually, but Italy have found a lot more money. We invest across all of the EO programmes, the climate ones, the data ones, the Future EO, and indeed Copernicus. So a lot of what the success has been in the UK, the growth of the sector, has been through our investments in ESA and then what people go on to do afterwards. So I'm delighted that we work so closely together. So you heard Viscount Cameron there. He is part of the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. That was recently changed in March from, what were we before? I can't remember now what we were before. Base, thank you. And so what they have a space a policy unit, and what they are doing is setting the policy priorities for space for the UK, for civil space. Underneath that, so we have a national space strategy that says we want to stay at the forefront of EO technology and know-how. That was a year or so ago. And then just this year in July, we published in the National Space Strategy update the action plan, 14 ambitious priorities for Earth observation, which really build on all the excellent science, the industrial capability, and maximise our international partnerships. So it's very relevant to this group that all of that is represented here, the science, the industry, and international. Is it not? Okay, thank you. So I just want to highlight that chain there, that what's really vitally important to us, and we have a holistic view in UK government, right from the technology, design and manufacture. Really, the whole point of Earth observation is so it's used and so that we can do good things for our planet. Doesn't seem to go. Here we go. So these are the 14. I'm not going to read them all out. You can scan that and read them all in more detail. But they obviously go through, it's around growing the sector, enhancing our national capability for exports, stimulating applications through leading across the civil, picking out the civil and defence dual-use programme. I know SAR is particularly one of those areas that does cut across both. And I'm really going to point out the reset the UK relationships with the EU. This was written 2 months ago, so that is definitely what we have done. But actually, it's all to play for now. We've really got to make the most of that fantastic opportunity. So what about the UK space agency itself, so we play a very big role in delivering the National Space Strategy that's set by DSIT. We have 3 priorities around catalysing investment, making sure we drive investment and generate contracts, that we deliver the missions and capabilities, and we champion the power of space, so we inspire people. And I know that's why we're in things like the Sense, and it's brilliant to see real-life human beings that we put a little bit of money in and help people really advance their careers within the space sector. So within that, there's 8 priorities in the Space Agency. Earth observation is one of those priorities, and that is around studying our planet to drive discovery, tackling climate change, and there is a much longer definition there. And really, so under my team, it's quite repetitive, but what we're doing is building space assets and missions, maximising data exploitation, the technology capability, sustaining, enhancing that capability, and then leading in national and international climate policy. So I'm just going to talk about a few of those. What it means we talked historically about some of the missions that are flying, which are brilliant. I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But what are we going to do next? And we have such a thriving sector in the UK. We put out essentially a survey saying, what is anybody wanting to plan and do with new missions? And we had there's at least 35 different missions being dreamt about within the UK at various stages of development. So there's at least 18 industrial partners developing those with many, many other people involved. They range, those early ideas, or some of them are quite advanced, range right across the domains, and you can see those numbers. They don't add up to 34 because some of them obviously cut across more than one. But you can really see how where the focus is are, and it doesn't mean that if there's just one, it's not the best one we're going to focus on. It was just to get us an idea of what's going on. You can also see how significant SAR is in the technology areas, and you know the top 3 account for most of the numbers, or quite a high proportion of those numbers. So SAR is very much still a priority area for the UK and something that we will be championing. This will drive 2 different things. One is the technology programme, our CEOI. There's currently a call out now we've had more money than we've ever had to spend within that programme in the next 2 or 3 years. So we've got some very big projects coming up within that. So it was to drive the call for that, understanding where do people want the help from government within that. And the other one we're looking at in slightly longer term with DSIT is what missions should we be doing? What should we be pushing internationally? What should we be pushing towards ESA? What should we be doing nationally? So it's a very rich data set. What's already going on? Microcarb is very exciting. I think it went into the TPAC chamber also on Thursday, so the day that Copernicus was announced. It's gone its final set of testing in Harwell, thermal vacuum testing. That hopefully will be finished and ready to fly soon. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, there's quite a backup of launch requirements, so it might be a while till that's launched, but we're pushing as hard as we can obviously with CNES and ESA on that one. Truths, hopefully you've heard about Truths as one of our flagship UK programmes. It's an ESA mission with 5 other ESA member states, but it's 70% to 80% of it will be built here in the UK. And SWAT, we were very much part of. It was launched back in December. That had a radio frequency duplexer that was built here in the UK. That's kind of the heart of the what's putting all the pulses around the satellite. And we're now seeing more and more proposals for the use of the data, which is absolutely fantastic. Global Water Survey. Joseph mentioned Novasar. I could not mention Novasar. UK, we co-invested in this S-band technology back in 2012. It was. It was flying from 2018. It was novel S-band technology, demonstrating that there could be a low-cost SAR mission with simultaneous AIS for enhanced marine mode. You can see there the first sort of outputs of those, as it were, over the UK. It is commercially owned. People do think it's the UK Space Agency mission. It's not. It's commercially owned and operated. There is a small bit of data that's the UK public good data. It's got many environmental applications. The one you can see there is ice falling from Columbia Glacier from in February. That's maritime mode, resolution of 6 metres, so these are SSTL. And obviously there's land use applications, many agricultural applications, land classifications, and many more. Of course, because the applications, whilst the technology is great, for me, it's why am I doing this? It's what do we actually use the data for? How does it change our lives? I was really fortunate in the summer. I went to Borneo in the Malaysian rainforest, and we did a bit of tree planting in the some old palm tree areas along the forest, replanted it for the orangutan habitats, and just talking to them there, how are you going to know how they're growing? They actually monitor monthly with space. So it's the tools and techniques we've developed from the Red Plus initiative. Have actually, that money goes to that village community to replant after the palm forest. So it triggers payments to the community to reforest, and it helps us understand and manage the trees, the growth rate, successes and things. So they do really real world applications. We've got to that point though, it was in 1992, which is, some of us remember, some of us, it's a long time ago. I was a student at that time, and the Malaysian Prime Minister, their sort of concept of paying people to preserve their land is like, okay, if you rich people want us to not cut down our trees, you've got to compensate us for it. So that was the concept in 1992, the Rio Summit. It's taken a long time now that we do actually have that in place. So things change. It might take a long time, but there is hope and there is change. So that's very much sort of a public good type thing. It's government money. This is an example of something that, the Red Plus, I think the UK puts in billions of pounds. This is a commercial services idea. We had grants of up to £10,000, and this wasn't even that, for 3 months' bit of work to really look at, can Earth observation do something better with a service that's already been provided, or develop climate services in the real world where there is money changing hands. So this one is very much around smallholder coffee farming in... I don't go. Where am I not pushing this to? There we go. So basically, these farmers, which is 50% of the scheme, they get paid if they've grown their coffee productively. But the trouble is, in order to do that, they have to actually, it looks like from space they're cutting down the trees every 3 to 6 years, but that's part of the sustainable practice. What's happening is with the coarser analysis, they're not being paid for that land that is being, because it's being classified as deforest. So what they've done is change the algorithms, and actually then those farmers, and it's because they're such small holdings, that change in payment is a real difference on the ground to that family that are doing that growing, and it keeps it as an organic and sustainable development. So they have put it directly into the sustaining maps. So it's a real live system with just a little bit of help from us. It was something that the business couldn't find enough R&D to do. So that's just a little success story. We're working really, that's one example of how we're working through Space for Climate. We want to convene the satellite EO climate community and others. Across those arrows of that value chain that you saw in the earlier slide, with the DSIT slide, really facilitate the exploitation of this data from space, so it really does make a difference on the ground. Space for Climate now has over 60 members from government, industry and academia working in partnership together, and we're taking it to world-leading climate science and services community, really so that the intel and the intelligence that comes from communities like this can really go to people who are going to take action and make better decisions with that information in their investments and their management of land, ocean, atmosphere, etc. So it can't not... I'm going to run through, I think I'm running out of time. I've got a load of On their website is a load of application examples of what's being used. I'll skip through those. And the biggest thing for me this year will be COP28. Hopefully people know what COP is. Unites the world towards practical agreements on climate change. There's a number of different strands, negotiations and science and evidence. But what's really exciting this year is that there will be a space pavilion, space agency, because of the work we did at COP26 when we hosted it in Glasgow. I think many others will exhibit alongside us now, but we'll also have a Space Leaders Summit. So there'll be a pledge to accelerate climate action through space tools and research. So we're working very, very hard on that with the UAE, and then Australia will take on COP29. So that's really what I wanted to say. Satellite is a very high priority for us in the UK. It's essential we take that holistic view. We don't develop technologies and tools that aren't going to be used, but also we make sure the users can understand. And I think it's more important than ever with the SAR technology. People, don't obviously see it with the naked eye. So it's very important that we have all this analysis and you intelligent people telling us what it's all meaning. So thank you and enjoy your conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth. I have the pleasure of introducing Professor Anna Hogg from the University of Leeds, who's the local organizer and co-convener of this workshop.
There we go, shall I try again? My voice is loud anyway, so I hope I'll be able to speak loudly and you'll be able to hear me really well. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to Leeds, to the University of Leeds campus for this ESA Fringe conference. At Leeds, our usual experience of going to Fringe is to all find ourselves at Leeds Bradford Airport, catching a plane to Helsinki or Esrin or wherever else we're jetting to around Europe to participate in this conference. So it's really, really a pleasure to welcome you to our home campus and show you where we live and work, and hopefully you can experience that through the week. I'm really excited to listen to some fantastic new science results using SAR data, demonstrating the advances in use of this technology for a range of different scientific application areas. And I hope that in addition to all of the science, we can show you some fun in the evenings as well. So it'll be a fun and social week as well as a science-packed one too. But the reason why we're so keen to host the ESA Fringe conference here at Leeds is that we really are a hub of expertise in using and applying SAR technology to different application areas. We've got huge amounts of capability in using SAR data to study volcanoes, earthquakes, monitoring forests, as Beth has already said, and also studying Earth's ice sheets, which is, of course, what my research group specialises in. If you ever wanted to take a vote on what the best Earth observation satellite is, I think this room would be a great one for Sentinel-1 to get a win on. And so I'm sure we will see common ground on that over this week. Although this crowd or this audience doesn't need any further convincing about the benefits of using SAR data to study Earth and change on Earth, the events over this weekend with the terrible earthquake in Morocco and the horrific loss of life that's resulted shows us that SAR technology isn't just important for our research, it's also a critical technology for monitoring real-world change in Earth and our response to that. It's essential for allowing us to see where the epicenter of these changes have been and how we need to target our response efforts. So SAR technology goes far beyond the academic research work that we will be presenting and looking at here today. And this Fringe conference is going to be discussing the latest advances in using SAR missions in terms of data processing and algorithms and results which will allow us to only improve our capability in this area over the coming years. And hopefully one day when we can maybe predict these catastrophic events before they occur and certainly be better prepared in order to deal with them. But we can't do this alone. Science is very much a team sport, and I love doing science in collaboration with my colleagues. That's been at the core of my academic career for all of the time that I've been a part of it. But it's not just about working together in collaborative science. The huge data volumes that are required by satellites such as Sentinel-1 and other SAR missions certainly require high-performance computing facilities, automated data processing algorithms, in order to monitor the change in near real time. It's not good enough to be working as one person alone on a computer anymore, as it maybe was a decade ago. And with the advances in the use of AI and deep learning techniques, we can now generate new SAR data products that we couldn't even imagine 5 years ago. And so it's a really exciting time to be part of the European SAR community. But it's not just compute that's needed. We need scientific collaboration with all of our colleagues. And ESA has underpinned the UK's ability to collaborate internationally with all of our European friends over the last 50 years. That relationship has been even more important over the last 6 years, where we've unfortunately not been a formal member of the European Commission and important programmes like Copernicus. So as the UK ministers and Beth from UK Space Agency have already just said, a huge amount of hard work has gone into renegotiating the UK's participation in that essential programme, and we're really thrilled to hear the news from government last week. As chair of the UK SPAN Earth Observation Working Group, I've always known that the view from the scientific community on this topic has been unanimous. We want to be a part of any programme that allows us to collaborate with our European colleagues and that puts us at the heart of research. And so we're really thrilled to be rejoining Copernicus again. And I hope actually that the timing of Fringe was always going to be good, but coming just a week after this announcement, it means that we'll be able to have discussions about not only what the next ESASAR project is going to be, but also how we're going to collaborate together on new Copernicus projects. So you'll see the logo of Space Hub Yorkshire. It was mentioned by Joseph in his speech, and we've got a stand over in the International Conference Symposium with the poster boards. And that's part of a really important network of UK regional space clusters that's hoping to convene and connect the space community, to exchange knowledge from academia to industry, and to make the space industry in the UK an ever more vibrant part of the country's work in the north of England. It's really fantastic that we're going to be hosting homegrown companies such as SatSense in that first industry showcase here at Fringe, but also international ones such as Gamma Remote Sensing, who we've all known and participated in Fringe over the last decades. So please take time to visit those companies' stands alongside the fantastic posters during the rest of this week. So UK-funded PhD training programs such as SENSE are also one of the most rewarding parts of my job as an academic here at the University of Leeds. It's fantastic that in addition to the SAR community that have been attending Fringe over the last decades or more, we can be sharing now our Fringe experience with the next generation of SAR experts who will be all attending here this week. Many of those students will be helping us run this conference, handing around microphones in big sessions like this throughout the week, and directing us between the buildings. So please take time to speak to those brilliant scientists. Their involvement in this conference is essential, and it wouldn't be possible for us to run it as well without their involvement. So after some tough years of pandemic, where we as a community haven't been able to meet so frequently, and when we have not been able to be a part of the Copernicus programs in the UK in the way that we might like, it really feels like we're turning a corner now. We're all here together, ready to discuss some brilliant science here in Leeds this week. But we're also at the doorway has now opened so that we can collaborate on funded projects. I'm really thrilled to be hosting Fringe on campus in Leeds, and I hope that you enjoy your time here this week. I'm excited for the science discussions to start, and I don't want to really hold that back anymore. But I just want to wrap up and say welcome to Leeds. Please have fun as we commence this conference. So thank you very much. So I'd like to just also now introduce Marcus Engdahl, who's the technical officer at ESA for SAR data and various different projects. And he is the principal organizer from ESA for the Fringe conference. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you, Anna. So I'm going to go briefly through what's going to happen this week. It's going to be quite exciting. So looking into the program and objectives, Joseph mentioned in his speech that the ESA has been organizing INSAR meetings and workshops for a long time, and I can also, I was very surprised when I saw this slide because my colleague Ulla, who's going to present logistics later, we've been involved from 2003, so this is for us, it's the 20th anniversary of organizing Fringe. Briefly the objectives, so we're going to review the state of the art in the field of INSAR, bring all you people together so that we can exchange ideas and see where to go, which is the way forward. We're going to present the Sentinel-1 mission status, products, and also the status of our future INSAR missions that are currently under preparation. We're going to look at what you were recommending in the last Fringe 2011, organized online. And it's very important for us that you give us input during this workshop on where we should put our R&D efforts in, and especially in preparation for Sentinel-1 Next Generation, Biomass, ROSE-L, and Harmony. So we really need your inputs, and we take those very seriously. So this is one of the main ways that we gather inputs from the scientific community. So one of the outputs of this workshop is FRINGE session summaries and recommendations. We will act on those. They affect our programs. They influence the way we operate our missions, and they influence also future missions in preparation. So in numbers, I think that these numbers are old. I think we are at 500 participants. So, and we received almost 400 papers from almost 50 countries. So this is a large workshop. We have 133 oral presentations and a big poster session of 260 posters. 19 sessions, counting 3 ESA sessions. So immediately after this opening, we have a nice one on Sentinel-1. Then tomorrow morning in plenary, we're going to review the future ESA INSAR missions. And then, very importantly, on Friday, we're going to present the summaries of all the sessions to the community on Friday. So we have a set of theoretical or technical sessions, and then also some applied sessions. So it's a full week. So we are now here in the opening session in Auditorium 1. Auditorium 2 is just over there around the corner. After this session, we're going to have a coffee break, 10:40 if we are not a bit late, but that's when we have the coffee every day, and also at 20 to 4. Lunch break is from 10 to 1 to 2 o'clock every day except Friday. We have plenary sessions in the morning most days, so everybody in the same room, and then we split into parallel sessions. So we are in Auditorium 1, Auditorium 2, plus in the Roger Stevens building, and Ulla will let you know where the Roger Stevens building is. It's not very far. Yes, so we have one poster session that is split over 2 days, so you can already hang your posters now and just leave them there over the whole week. So we have a lot of time to interact with the audience. But this is a nice Tuesday and Thursday afternoon event. There's going to be some small nibbles and refreshments, and I think it's going to be very enjoyable. We have round tables, so this is where you can give us your inputs and recommendations. We have a roundtable discussion that is run by the chairpersons of the session, and they will be seated by a set of seat questions. So everybody in this room who is a chair, before your session, you need to agree upon what seat questions you will present in your session. So you will. That's how we run those sessions, and then on Friday, it will be one of the chairs shall present the summary on the summary session. So this is where we wrap up everything up. So it is not only work, we have also social programs. So today, at the end of the day, we have a welcome drink, and very many thanks to UK Space Agency for sponsoring that. Tomorrow we have a mysterious Fringe jam session that's cooked up by Tim Wright. I have one slide about that later. And we have a gala dinner on Thursday, so this is an unhosted dinner. The places are limited, so if you are interested, please make a reservation and payment as soon as you can in the other room. The exhibition is going to go on through all week in the same room as a poster area. Yes, so just briefly about the presentation. So oral presenters, there's a 20-minute slot, and hopefully there is a couple of minutes at the end for questions and answers. So the chairperson should give you a 3-minute warning. Please be in the room 15 minutes before, so that we make sure that your presentation is showing up on here. You should not upload your presentation here in the room. There is Ulla will be behind the speaker ready area in the registration hall. That's where you should upload your presentations. So PPT or PDF format, not from your own devices, but from the Leeds computers over here. And there's people around that's going to help you with the practicals. We are streaming live now, and we will do this throughout the whole event. And your talks will be available on EO Open Science YouTube channel a bit later, a bit after the workshop. So the posters, you can already hang them up and take them away at the end of the week. Chairpersons, I think I said most of this, so please enforce the session schedule, because we have parallel sessions, and if one session runs 15 minutes late, it's going to screw up the people's program. So please keep people on time, or keep people on a tight leash. So I already mentioned the summary and recommendations. All right. So this is the Fringe Jam event on Tuesday. So there's going to be a mysterious new INSA supergroup, the InStars. I mean, this will be a surprise for most of us, including me. So, and the other event is this gala dinner. So we have standard and vegan menus available. It's a super nice venue. It's between a rugby stadium and a football stadium. So I've never seen such a thing. So I can highly recommend it. Okay, I think that, yeah, it's time to thank University of Leeds as the organizer and all the sponsors and exhibitors. And I think that we come to the end of my presentation. Ulla is going to present more logistics after me, and just please enjoy the workshop. So thank you.
Right, so welcome from the logistic team and all the OC team. Okay, so just to show you around the campus map, as you have already noticed at the registration, the building number 100, that's where we have the exhibition. Now you already know your way to the auditorium because you're here, so it's 101. And Roger Stevens is a yellow one popping up. It's indicated by the arrows on the floor on the pavement. So you have to get out from this one through the registration building and just by the lake. Anyway, we have totems, signage, and volunteers helping you out to find your way to the Roger Stevens. But our sessions will take place there only on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the first 2 days you have time to get acquainted around this area. And the Roger Stevens is just around the corner. The red one down there is the refectory where you get your lunch. So also there you have arrows on the floor just to find your way around, okay? And always there we have people indicating the road just in case you don't find it. So the registration is open every day and it's available through all the day and all the week. There's a team supporting you for any inquiries. Once you get here, you get your badges as you have already. And you please wear them throughout the whole week, every day. You can leave your luggages and your coats. There's a cloakroom area, and you can ask registration desk for that. Should you need to have individual small meetings, you can book meeting rooms at the registration desk, always with my colleagues. Lunch vouchers, if you bought it online, you should have already received it. If you didn't, then you will just get to the refectory and pay directly. I'm missing a bit here, but for the gala dinner, there will be a pickup at 18:45. Anyway, we will indicate it to you better after the Thursday poster session. So you will be escorted to Parkinson building where the bus will pick everybody up. But that will be organized on Thursday, and you will be indicated, taken there directly. If you didn't pay your dinner online, you can do so at the registration desk. There's an online payment position where you can pay your dinner. If you don't pay your dinner by Wednesday lunchtime, it will be cancelled. If you have not booked the dinner but you would like to join in, you go to the registration desk and you ask them to book you to the dinner. Everything by Wednesday lunchtime, because we need to advise the Headingley Stadium about the numbers. Then useful info, we have electrical sockets in the corners of the meeting exhibition hall and the registration hall. There will be some European sockets, but they still need to be delivered. So later on today, we shall install some European plugs too. Parking, if you need to park a car, there's a on-site parking indicated with a P letter. And that's the code 267333. It's the 24-hour parking. So you have to go to the parking area and ask for information there. So this is the whole plan. You get in, there's the entrance, as you can see, the exit to get to the auditoriums. The registration area is clearly indicated. The clock room, you asked at the registration, but it's that corner. The speaker upload area, where I will be waiting for your presentations, please, at least, let's say, morning or the evening for the morning, or the morning for the later afternoon sessions. So let's not try to make it too tight, because we still need to upload everything. There's, okay, the toilets are behind the registration desk in the hallway. Then you have the tunnel that connects the exhibition area with the registration area. We have 3 catering points, 1 in the registration area and 2 in the exhibition hall. You have exhibition booths all around the hall and the poster boards in the middle. So it's very visible, you can't miss them. So the coffee breaks are every morning and PM as from the program, and the catering points I've indicated. Water is at the dispensers. Please, if you have a tumbler, bring it over, otherwise there will be cups available. And lunch in the refectory every day. Then, So the social events, just very quickly today, the welcome cocktail, courtesy of UK Space Agency. Tomorrow, the poster session with some drinks, and the Fringe Jam session at the refectory, courtesy of Tim Wright and SatSense. Thank you. The doors open at 7 p.m. There will be food 7:30 p.m. and music until 10:30 p.m. On Thursday, we have another poster session with niblets and drinks. And after that, as we said, the gala dinner at the Headingley Stadium. Okay? Enjoy your workshop. And now we should go to the exhibition area, poster area, to get our coffee break. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ulla. Yes, we go for coffee now and come back 10 past. And I was corrected, the stadium is between a rugby field and a cricket field, so it's even stranger.